and I'm not going to get in trouble. Well, I asked him to down when I came in here, and so what I'm going to do, when he ignores the down or when he chooses to do something different from what I've asked, is I'm going to put a little verbal pressure on him. I'm going to start to step towards him to put pressure on him, and then as soon as he goes back into the down or does what I asked, I'm going to release that pressure. So all of herding training is pressure and release. So the basic concepts as far as on the obedience part, where I put pressure on him to put him back in the down, release the pressure, that's all the exact same thing you're going to do with him on stock. And so I'm going to demonstrate that today. I'm going to kind of, hopefully he's going to make some mistakes, and I'm going to show you what you can do to fix those mistakes as they happen, because they will happen when you go home. He has a working relationship with me. I developed a relationship with Nacho through work. So I brought him here and I kind of showed him what we were going to do and what I was going to allow, and I didn't allow other things, and then I corrected things that needed to be corrected. So he doesn't have a history of growing up with me, therefore you will have habits that have formed at home that will have to be fixed. So one of the things that I do like to do is I like to put a lot of patience and control in these dogs, because they probably don't have very much just based on the way they live their everyday life. So when you go home, it is perfectly okay to take him into a pen with stock, ask him to lay down or put him on a place and leave him there. Maybe move the stock around yourself, let him develop a little bit of patience, realize that until you ask for his help, he's not supposed to be helping you. Nacho, play. So it's the same thing as with the down. When I ask a dog to get on their place, I expect them to stay there until I call them off using their name. I don't use a release word. I don't say okay. I don't say free. I don't say that'll do. I call him off with his name. And the reason, I don't care whether he sits, lays down, stands, turns around, whatever he wants to do while he's on the place. The only two rules I have is no barking, no vocalizing. So barking will get him in trouble, whining will get him in trouble, and then no leaving the place until I ask him to. So even though he came in there 90-0, he was excited, he jumped up there, he slid off. He had control of that, which is why I said, hey, what are you doing? And then put him back up there with pressure. So he got into a little bit of trouble for that. And the reason why is because he has control. He's in control of his body. And if he had been in the correct mindset to listen and to perform that the way I expect him to do it, he would not have slipped off the edge. Meaning that he's done this plenty of times, he knows better, he can have a little bit of pressure for blowing through that and sliding off the other end. So I might do a couple of things. I might move my cattle around, I might go move my sheep around. I expect him to stay. That's teaching him a little bit of patience. That's also putting you in a point of control, which I think is going to be important for this dog. So do that a few times. Do that when you're just going out to feed and you're not even going to need the dog. Bring him out there and put him up on a place or put him in a down. I like the place because when he was laying down, there's a lot of times I'm not looking at the dog. He could be getting up and moving around and I'm not even aware of it. And it's very, very obvious if he's not where I left him when I use the place. help you get that done. So always just keep that in mind when you go into a stock pen or into a pasture and he's looking around for something to do. That might be your opportunity to get into his head. Put him up on the 4x4, lie him down, make him hold a stay, kind of get into his head, get him thinking about what he's going to be doing for you, not what he's going to be doing for himself. Nacho. Boy. Also expect him to be able to hang out just in here with me standing around talking. He can mill about a little bit. I expect him to stay probably within about a 6-foot radius of me and not go to stock until I ask him to. These things that I mentioned are kind of a good gauge as to where his head is when you get ready to go to work. So if you were to walk into a pen, first thing he does is take off for the stock. He's not thinking about you or helping you, he's just thinking about what he wants to do. So getting him responding to what you want is going to be a big part of getting him working for you at home.